Ashley, what's going on? Look, we're gonna be talking about your Duval Jaguars today. They
Duval.
doing their thing. Super proud of them. Let's go.
Well, before we get into all that, we also got to discuss your Ravens. Even though they got the win, the injuries did pile up. So we need to get into what the future of the Ravens looks like post all these injuries.
Y'all stay tuned for some analysis filled with a little bit of trash talk. All right. Hit that dial. We'll be right back. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another great episode of Ringside with Ray and Prince, where we look to educate you, entertain you, and empower you. Make sure that you hit that like and that subscribe button and share this channel with the people that you care about the most. Other than that, let's go ahead and get this show started. We got Ashley Ross in the house. She is here.
Ray's Cowboys rattled off a couple wins, and he don't know how to act out here. No, I'm just kidding.
Look, man, it's Ray's birthday. It's his birthday, so we got to make sure that everybody give him a cool shout out. He couldn't make it here with us today, but it's all right because we're here right now. We're gonna hold the fort down, man. So, as you already know, Ash came in here to educate you, entertain you, and empower you. So make sure that y'all turn your volume up and let's go ahead and get on with this show. Ash, what's going on?
You know what? This has been it was a good week of football, but just this season, every season is different and it has a different feel. But this season, it's kind of hard to put your finger on who's a really elite team because one week a team can look great and then get a loss the next week, right?
Yes.
So it's been hard to determine like who's really, really great, who's maybe not as bad as their records indicate. But let's start with Thursday night. Baltimore Ravens taking on the Bengals.
Yes.
Baltimore comes out with the win, but it was at the cost. They lost Mark Andrews, their stud tight end. I think OBJ's a little banged up. Lamar's got an ankle nick. What do you think is the future of the Ravens right now with all these injuries piling up? And how, as a team, do you respond when some of your star guys get hurt like this?
To be honest, I am scared for the Ravens. I'm a little scared, and the reason why is because when your big key players go down, like who's the next man? Who's going to step up to the challenge? And I know the Ravens have Likely and the other tight end as well, but they're no Andrew. They're no Andrews, no Mark Andrews. And so you cannot replace that. But the only thing that you can do is hope that the next man that's in line is ready. And they got that dog in them and they're ready to take over that number one spot, right? Because a lot of times when you know that you're number two, you get comfortable with being number two because there's no need for you to be called on.
Clipboard.
Exactly. There's no need for you to be called on to be number one. But now when that opportunity presents itself, now it's about, all right, how do I step up to the challenge? I am that man. You gotta take a moment and you gotta look at yourself in the mirror and you gotta say, all right, it's my time. This is what I've been wanting. This is what I've been asking for. And let's go ahead and put those boots on and let's get ready. It's time. Right. So I'm looking for the other players to step up and see what's going to happen, man. OBJ, that was a tough one, man. He was just starting to get his groove back and he hurt himself.
Had a phenomenal game.
Right? He had 116 yards. He was looking really good, really limber and making a lot of moves. But I saw when he did get injured, it was a linebacker that came and tackled him from behind and he bared all of his weight on him. And when he came down, it looked like he already had a sling for his shoulder. So maybe had a slight labrum tear. I'm familiar with that injury. And, he hurt himself. He landed on his shoulder. So he did a really good job in terms of making sure after his post-game interview, he didn't grimace as much. And he came in to show that he was still ready to go, but I don't see him playing for the next opponent, the Chargers. But they do have a bye week, so he'll have 2 weeks off. But coming back from a labor a torn labrum or injury, something like that, it's going to be very difficult, especially when he needs his arms to be able to catch the ball. We can't have any T-Rex or alligator arms out here, trying to catch the ball.
I don't think that really works catching the ball like that. I mean, the other person too, and speaking of downplaying an injury, Lamar's like, you don't got to keep asking me about my ankle. And in one sense, you do respect the warrior nature, but you also are curious of how much is this ankle bothering you? And we know that part of what the Ravens and Lamar do so well is the ability to be mobile. So how much is that going to force him in the pocket? And then you obviously have Andrews down now, and then you have possibly OBJ missing some time. So that's going to make you a little bit more sedimentary in the pocket. And I don't know what this new look Ravens is going to look like next game. Now, they are playing the Chargers. And one thing we know about Staley is he will find a way to lose. So that's good for the Ravens. Speaking of that, he needs to be fired. I'm just going to put that on display.
Talk your smack.
I think that's a good opponent for them coming off of, the injuries in the game that they had. They should be able to beat the Chargers. Speaking of teams shaking things up, the Jets, they finally decided after umpteen weeks and much frustration and much going back and forth, Zach Wilson, he ain't even on second string. They sent him to third string. This is Zach. We're just going to just go to the side, go to your room. You know, when your mom tells you just go to your room. That's what the Jets did to Zach Wilson. And he gets taken out. Tim Boyle is in.
Oh,
do you think it's too late for the Jets? Like, is this move too late?
Oh, man, is it too late? I don't think that it's too late, but they definitely should have done it earlier. It's like Tim Boyles, he just popped up out of the blue like a rat out of a habit. I said rat out of a habit. I meant to say a rabbit out of a hat. Thank you, Ash.
I was picking up what you're putting down.
I appreciate it. And so now he's just on the scene. I think he needed to get a little bit more reps in early on during the season. They could have figured out.
Do you think the O-line, this is a question, do you think the O-line is as bad as everyone is saying it is? Or is it also that these guys just aren't great quarterbacks? So it's like a domino effect where, they might be holding on to the ball a little bit more. Do you think that, that basically anybody that goes in at this point is not going to be successful due to the line and that it's not all on Zach?
I think it just comes down to experience. Right. When you have an experienced quarterback in there and an experienced leader, what they do, they command the respect of everyone else. They speak life into the players, and those players look to go to battle for them. Also, whenever you have a quarterback that is a leader in there, they make decisive decisions, and they can make decisions on the dime. And when a quarterback holds the ball too long, it demoralizes the lineman because now the defensive line, stop piling up their sacks. Right.
You might start getting holding calls because you're trying to protect your guy.
Exactly. And you need for that quarterback to get that ball out of his hands immediately. You need for those wide receivers to create separation so they can get open. Right. So and those 3-step drops, they need to make sure that they happen in sequence. And 1, 2, 3, shoot, ball is out. The wide receiver is either running an out route or some type of quick in route, right? You got to be able to read the blitz. You got to understand what's going on. And with these young quarterbacks, I don't see them actually like rising up to the occasion, and they have all this pressure on their back. I don't think they're really there to learn. They have a lot of adversity that they have to overcome, and the game is just moving too fast for them. So they need to actually get someone in there that is a veteran. I know they're waiting for Aaron Rodgers to come back, but is he going to play with a boot? Is he allowed to play with a boot? I never knew a quarterback could go out and play with a boot, but it could be the first time, so we can see.
Yeah.
But they need a leader there, and they don't see that leader in Zach Wilson, and so they're looking to go somewhere else. And is it too late? Probably a dollar late. Yes, a day late, a dollar short.
Say yes, and I'm gonna rattle off a few reasons why. It's late because one. Let's all be honest. If Nathaniel Hackett did not have the connection that he had to Aaron Rodgers, that's the Jets OC. First of all, after the job that he did in Denver last year, the fact that this man walked into OC position should tell you everything you need to know about how hiring goes in the NFL. Let's just start there. This dude, let's be real, like this dude, because of his connection to Aaron, that's why he got this job. So then you don't have Aaron in this offense anymore. And the offense has looked horrible. I mean, they have decent running backs. Like it's not like they don't have things that could make this offense work. But when you have someone at the helm that probably wasn't really truly qualified to do this job to begin with, you run into these situations. And the worst thing that can happen for a team that does have a great piece, let's say the defense, is they're demoralized. They feel defeated because why week in and week out am I busting my tail? Am I doing all I can to keep us in these games? And we can't even score a touchdown. You know, that I'm sure that's got to be defeating for a defensive player of, I'm literally holding teams to under, 10, 14 points. And because we can't even score a touchdown, we're not having any production. So I think the Jets this year is a wash. Don't try to usher Aaron out in the boot. This year is just a wash.
They're not going to get the job done. And I don't see Tim Boyles coming in there and doing some Bobby Boucher something where he's going to he's going to turn it around. He's just going to go in there and manage the game. He hasn't had the experience. And
go to the run game. I mean, we always talk about go to the run game.
But what happens when the run game gets stopped?
Well, go to Wildcat. Go to Wildcat. I mean, you gotta be in. But this is again where coaching matters. Where clearly their offense is stifled. They're not able to move the ball, and so you need to have. And this is why guys like Kyle Shanahan and the Sean McVays and these guys get clamored after because of the innovation of, hey, sometimes you are going to get, the box stack. Sometimes your receivers are going to get shut down. And that's why you need a certain level of creativity, which Nathaniel Hackett, other than his colorful language on Hard Knock, I don't know what other creativity he has.
Speaking of audible, we're going to have to talk about them Cowboys because they've been, doing something that's audible as well.
Well, since Ray is not here this week, Ray, I hope you're watching. I will be Ray's Cowboy representative. How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?
I can hear Ray now. What did he talk about? Deron Bland is not bland. Deron is not bland. Listen, I will give credit where credit is due. I still wish that the running game was a tad bit better? Absolutely. But you can't discount how they have rebounded these past couple weeks. Now, my mind with the Cowboys is always to the future. And I really want to see them when they have this rematch against the Eagles. I want to see them come out with a win. That will show me that they are really ready for prime time, that they're really ready to be that team that they always tell us that they are. I want to see them against good, stiff competition, rise to the occasion for 4 quarters and get the job done.
So actually, let me ask you this then. So were the Cowboys supposed to beat the Panthers? Like, do they get a pat on their back or
listen, a win is a win is a win. It could be the ugliest win. It could be the most prolific Miami Dolphins 70 point. At the end of the day, it's a dub in the win column. So I'm not going to hate on Dallas. You play who's in front of you. The Panthers were in front of them. But when they play teams like they got the Eagles coming up, they got the Bills coming up, when they play these better teams, I want to see Dallas rise to the occasion. I just haven't fully seen Dallas rise to the occasion against great competition. And people think I'm a Dallas hater. I'm not a Dallas hater. I want them to be worthy of the title of America's team. That's all.
Tell them how it is, Ashley. Look, Tony Pollard, he got his first touchdown since week 1. Ooh.
Yes, he did. Good for Tony finding the end zone. I'm sure fantasy owners that have Tony everywhere were breathing a sigh of relief this week.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Dak. So, were you impressed with Dak? Did he look good? Like, did he look like did he look comfortable? Did he look like he was delivering the ball to his teammates? Talk about Dak real quick.
Well, Dak had a solid game, but overall, and this is what separates the good from the great to the elite, is you are supposed to dominate, have over 300 yards against a team like the Panthers. But when you get into these slug matches with the team that have great defenses, i.e. the Eagles of the world, i.e., different teams that are really elite, that's when in the fourth quarter, when it's 4th and 2, when we need to make a play, and it was inches. I'm going to be fair to him. The game that they lost against the Eagles previously, that was a game of inches. So I'm not going to overly hold this against him. But when you get these opportunities, you have to make the most, because this is also writing the narrative. Part of the reason we have the narrative about Dak in Dallas is because in the moments when it counts the most, we haven't seen him show up the way that the contract that he has been awarded would warrant.
Ooh, the Tony Romo syndrome. Look, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Tony. That's a great group, though. Great group. Tony.
Right. It never rains in Southern California. Look, but I see CeeDee Lamb. He is raining right now. He's looking like he's in the top 10 wide receivers in the league today, and Dak is getting the ball to him a little bit more. So he's stepping up to the challenge. He's looking like an elite wide receiver right now. So I'm proud of him. CeeDee Lamb, keep doing your thing, man. And keep being a dominant force. That's all I got to say.
Speaking of dominant forces, the 49ers. Woo! How about them Niners? Bang, Niner gang.
Hey, the 49ers are on the right track.
Listen, after dropping 3 in a row, they had the bye. Everybody got their minds right and said, look, we are better than this. We are better than this. And they took it to poor little Duval. Poor Jacksonville I knew whoever they played coming out of that bye, I said, it's going to be bad news for whoever has to play them. Unfortunately, it was Jacksonville Jaguars. The 49ers have returned to form, and Purdy is looking real Purdy again. Yes, they had their little slump, but the thing that you can't ignore about the 49ers is the weapons on both sides of the ball. Brandon Ayuk, bombs away. I have Ayuk in my fantasy team, Ayuk and Debo. So those boys helped me secure the win this week. So I think that the 49ers, even with the loss, unfortunately, they lost Hufanga on defense. I call him Baby Troy because he plays like a baby Troy Polamalu. The hair is whipping. He's making plays. Even without him, that 49er defense, they've got dogs. On offense, they've got dogs. And Purdy, he's so even keel, but he has the confidence. That's when we talk about, you have to have a certain level of command of the offense, especially when you have real dogs around you. You have to be able to go in. And Purdy, he's bounced back nice. I love the direction that the 49ers are going right now.
What about Chase Young? Do you think that was a great addition to the 49ers?
Absolutely, because guys like that, especially, and you probably know this from your time in the league, is you might have been the dude in college. You were the dude. You were on a great team. And then you go to and then when you're a high draft pick like that, you're going to a team that's not as great. So when you go to teams like that, and you're around a culture, and let's face it, Washington has had a very atrocious culture for the last umpteenth years. When you're in that kind of environment, it kind of takes a toll on not only your physical, but your mental, because everybody is not invested in winning championships and doing all the right things. And then you go to a place like the 49ers. Look at Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey didn't lose his edge, but this is a different Christian McCaffrey. Who he was in Carolina versus he's just, there's just a different energy. And that's what being in a winning organization, a well-run, and it starts from the top down, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, this is a great organization. And when you get a guy like Chase Young coming from dysfunction to organization and winning culture, you get these results.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yes, they look really good. They look like they are going to be the favorite in terms of the Super Bowl. So shout out to the 49ers.
Bang Niner gang. Shout out, you know what? And E40. Let's shout out to our boy.
Shout out to E Fonzarelli. What's good with
it? He gave Ringside some love.
Hey, we appreciate that, E Fonzarelli. Right? Exactly. Yeah. In the bay. Hey. Shout out to E40 and the 49ers out there. Look. Hold on, Ash. I cannot let this show end without talking about Duval. Yo, what's up with your Jaguars? They are winning. How are they winning? I don't get it. I'm not gonna say
I
that
don't
I'm the biggest
either.
fan, but like they are turning it around. I want to know what's up with Duval. How are they doing this? How are they winning right now?
It's kind of a little bit of playing who's ahead of you on the schedule. Tennessee has not been a great team, so that was a great bounce back win
Right?
after the 49ers loss, and the 49ers came into Duval and they owned Duval. The Jaguars, when I look at Jacksonville and you say,
Mhm.
how are they winning? One,
Yeah.
it starts with the run game. They have a great run game that they can rely on. Trevor
Mhm.
Lawrence is great. And Calvin Ridley, this whole Calvin to Trevor
Oof.
connection is finally
Yeah.
coming to fruition. That's something that
Yes.
I spoke on early on in the season. I'm glad that even though it's taken a little bit more time than most fantasy owners and most of us would have liked, it's coming together. And
Yeah.
defensively, you got some dogs on the defensive side.
Yeah.
Jacksonville is in a unique position because the division isn't overly hard, but the
Hmm.
team that gives me a little pause is the
Yeah.
team that they're actually playing very soon, and that is
Uh-uh.
Houston Texans. Houston, we got a problem.
Oh, we got a
CJ
problem, Houston.
Stroud,
All right.
this man, this is one of the best rookies I've seen in a long time. I look at CJ Stroud and he just has it. You talk about killer instinct. You talk about ability. I mean, this dude looks like he's been in the league 4 or 5 years. He's so
Yes.
composed. The
Yes.
moment is not too big. He's
Mm-mm.
clearly in my opinion, and I love Puka, but he's the offensive rookie of the year. He dang
Wow.
near should be up for MVP at this point because of how he's
Wow.
playing.
Yes, he is
Houston
playing.
is the biggest threat to
Mm.
Jacksonville in the division. That is the
Oof.
biggest threat.
Man, look, they're looking awesome. They're looking incredible. And I'm with you on that. I think Houston will come out and look to dominate and punch the Jaguars in the mouth right away. Like I'm assuming that Jacksonville may overlook Houston, but right
I don't
now
think they're going
Houston,
to overlook them, but
yeah.
Jacksonville plays sloppy ball. If you really go through and look at
Mm,
Jacksonville, they turn it up like they can play sloppy ball at times.
yes,
And with a team like Houston, Houston can rack up points. So if you
man.
start getting turnovers, I could see Houston really jumping out against the Jaguars,
Man,
possibly.
D'Amico, he's gonna have them boys ready. He's
Shout out
doing
to
a really good
D'Amico.
job. Yeah.
This is why quality hires matter.
Oh, we said again. Can you repeat it? Can you repeat
This is
that?
why quality hires matter in the NFL. And
Oh
don't get me wrong, I think most
God.
of us, if our homeboy was running an organization and they say, "Hey, I know you just got fired after your stint in Denver. You want to come over here, Nathaniel Hackett?" I think most of us would probably take the job. But you're seeing why you need new blood sometimes. You need new, fresh
Mm,
faces, innovative
mm,
ideas. The
mm.
same old doesn't always work. You gotta try, switch it up. Try. Shout out to Cat Williams, but yeah, I love the direction that Houston's going. Jacksonville will be fine. They're on their way to Duval.
Well, they're looking good. I'm proud of them. As their 1, 2, 3 is coming together. That's Lawrence, that's Etienne, and Calvin. And so, as long as they keep it up, I think they'll do really well. I think they actually have a run for the playoffs, or make a run for the playoffs. So, looking forward to it. Duval, let's go. You all are looking good, representing the AFC. Let's get it. Well, Ash, look, this is the point where we always say we would love to have you back on the show. But guess what? Ray not here today. So you're going to stay on the show and we're going to give the people what they want. We're going to give them a little bit of stand above the ropes. So, look, before we do that, I want to make sure that you all remember to go and follow Ashley at Ashley Ross 3. Is that right? Make sure you keep up with her coverage of the NFL season, her weekly picks. Like Ashley been having some winning picks. And
I did go unofficially from our ringside pool. I did go unofficially from ringside, but in real life, 14-0 a couple weeks ago.
14-0 a couple weeks ago. And then she asked if she can submit it. And I was quick to say no, because I knew I would have lost that week.
Prince said, that's a no for me, dog. That's a no for me, dog.
We can't be
Haters,
out
man.
here.
Haters.
We can't be out here making me look bad. I'm like Major Payne. You can't be making me look bad out here. As we're going to stand above the ropes, I want to say this. So recently, I was just at a Tony Robbins event, and I was in Dallas. It was the UPW, Unleash your power within. And one of the things that he was speaking about was priming. And one of the questions that he asked is, are you priming someone, or are you getting primed? And what that means is, when you're priming, you're basically priming your subconscious mind to do something over and over again, and you talk to it. In the same way, if a kid is watching a TV show, and once that TV program goes into a commercial, what happens? The decibels, they rise, and they elicit, excitement, like woo, wow, hoo, ha, ha. And what does that make that kid do? It makes the kid want to react, right? And if I have this toy, or if I have that toy, I'll be able to feel this way and fulfill that excitement inside of me. So the thing is who are you priming, and is someone priming you? So the one person that you should be priming is yourself. Each and every day when you wake up in the morning, you need to be able to speak to yourself in a positive manner. Why? Because every day there's negativity thrown towards us. It doesn't matter what you do, how you do it. You can wake up being the most positive person, but if you don't prime yourself and prep yourself before you go out into the world, that negativity can rain upon you, and it can make you have a bad day. So remind yourself to keep priming yourself, being positive in the morning time. Talk to yourself nicely. Speak to yourself beautifully. Tell yourself you are amazing. Look in the mirror, laugh, joke. Like, say, you are incredible. You are amazing. You can do this. There's nothing that is working against you. This world is working for you, not against you. So remember that. Priming is what it is. And sometimes you may need to close your eyes to feel how the priming works. But prime that subconscious mind, so don't let nobody tear down the things that you've created in your wall. You got anything to say? Oh man,
I was taking it in. I was taking it in. It's something when you were talking about that of, talking to yourself and positive self-talk. I always say this, and it's kind of a joke, but it is kind of a positive affirmation in a lot of ways. Is me and my stepmom, we joke about this. It's from the help. It's like, you is kind, you is smart, you is important. And, the root cause of it is kind of shady, but the message of it, the actual message of it is really important, like you said, to speak to yourself kindly and to really, give yourself grace. The changes we've all been through these last couple of years, from a pandemic to, what's going on in the world, and, just everything going on, it can be so heavy at times. And that's why you really have to, for me, I'm very big on my faith, and, really leaning into that. And that just helps keep me centered and grounded in my life. And knowing that there's a bigger purpose, right? Knowing that as much as you may feel like life isn't going your way, or certain things may be happening, one thing that I always kind of tell myself is the tides always turn, and that's positive and negative, right? So if you're going through a great time, you might be going to getting ready to enter something more challenging, and vice versa. You might be going through some challenges, and you might be getting ready to get through a breakthrough. So just, I said this the first time I came on, and I truthfully think it still rings true. So I'll say it again, just keep on living, right? Just keep on living, give yourself grace, and give other people grace. People are fighting battles that we have no clue what it is. And you never know, the stranger that may be upset, just give them a little bit more patience. Even if they're in the wrong, you could still be in the right. What did our forever first lady say? When they go low, we go high. So just keep a level of poise, keep a level of grace, and, just be compassionate to people. These are hard times for everybody. Just lead with love, lead with compassion, and, heal the world,
make it a better place for you and for me.
Shout out to Mike. Mike had the humanitarian slaps. Mike had the humanitarian slaps.
Mike and Quincy Jones, shout outs to the both of them for doing their thing. Look, thank you everybody for joining us for another great episode of Ringside with Ray and Prince, where we like to educate you, empower you, and entertain you. Make sure that you hit that like and that subscribe button, and make sure that you share this channel with the people that you care about the most. Man, we got Ashley here. Ashley, any last words? I know you just gave some words of wisdom, stand above the ropes, but is there anything that you want to say before we get out of here?
I want to say thank you so much for having me on. As Ray's Cowboy representative, how about them Cowboys?
How about them? Ain't nobody calling me, paging me, texting me, asking
I do want to
me,
say
am I still up?
thank you so much, Ray, Prince, for having me on again. Ray, we love you. Happy early birthday to our boy Ray. Happy birthday
Day
to
ya.
Happy birthday to ya. And happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays to everybody. Please stay safe. No drinking and driving. Be safe. Get an Uber. We love y'all.
We love y'all. Happy Thanksgiving. Remember that Thanksgiving is not about, eating food all the time. It's about giving thanks, reminding yourself when you say your grace, your prayer around your food, just remember to remind yourself what you are grateful for. And once you start to share that, let the other people in your life, in your family, your friends, let them share that as well, because we don't get these moments all the time. And this is only one day out of the year. So just be vulnerable and open your heart up and just remind everybody of what they're thankful for and what you're thankful for. It'll make a big difference in your Thanksgiving. Thank you so much.
Well, I am thankful for y'all.
Oh, we're thankful for you as well, Ash. Thank you so much. You are incredible. So shout outs to Ash and her family and their gathering for Thanksgiving. It's going to be great. Shout outs, Duval.
We're going to have a very special gathering this year.
Very special. Y'all have a good one. Like we always say at the end of the show, peace and power.